to Knit Mania. My name is Gretchen, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you're a first-time listener, then I hope you enjoy it, and if you do, please like and subscribe. And if you are returning, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this episode. So last episode was what I called the transition episode, and so this will kind of be the relaunch. And I'm going to be talking, of course, about knitting, but also about some Happy Mail, and then about some books, some cooking stuff, and even a little bit of beauty products. I am not an expert on any of these things. That's my caveat. They're just things that I'm passionate about. And if I find something I love, then I want to share it. And I'm an avid reader, and so I love getting recommendations from other avid readers, or even going, I would skip this one. So that's where we're going today. So the first thing that I'd like to do is bring up my one finished object. This was a old whip from June. So these are my socks that I finished. Very happy that I'm done with them. So these are vanilla socks. Pattern is by Kay Litton, Crazy Sock Lady. The yarn is by Mandis Makings, and it was in the summer sock share pair. And I was so excited in June to be a part of the summer sock camp. I had plans on making 4 or 5 pairs of socks. I had them all in their little project bags. And on June 3rd, I broke my shoulder. Bum, bum, bum. So these languished. I had 1 sock done in June, and then these languished until I revived them. I don't remember if it was January or if it was in February, but I did finish them, and I'm happy they're done. And you can see that I did make a mistake, which I'm just going to call a design effect. When you change colors for your heels, you shouldn't have a stripe right there. And I did it with the first one back in June and didn't fix it. So I decided I was just going to do the same thing for this one. So they just have a design effect that most socks don't have. They're unique and wonderful. I thought I was going to have a second finished object. I'm a little disappointed at myself that I don't. Oh, sorry. I think I just kicked the stand. But I did say I was going to revive my Hexi Puff game. And I am. And I'm almost done. Oh, look it. I match. Like I match almost perfectly. Woohoo. Anyway, but I didn't start it until last night. And so I did all the increases last night. And then this morning I started doing the decreases, but I realized that I was running out of time because I am, gonna have to edit some things out. Somebody called me and I went to push the button and knocked over the tripod. Woo, that was fun. Anyway, back to the Hexi. So I had started my increases and really wanted to finish this morning before I started the podcast. But I'm going to see my sister for lunch in about, half an hour now. And so I knew it was either finish the Hexi Puff or do the podcast. So I opted to do the podcast. So that is not finished, but it will be finished today for sure. I have been on a bit of an Advent kick, which is exciting to me. Oh, look at this beautiful bag. This is one of my fairly recent acquisitions, and I am not seeing the name. I'll have to put it in the show notes because it is a gorgeous bag, super well made. It's got leads right here so you can put your yarn through if you want. And then it's got the drawstring and it's got a handle. And it's really cool. The Etsy shop that I got it from, like you had several different choices that you could make. So you could do just the drawstring, or you could do the drawstring in the bag. And I really, really like the drawstring in the bag, because then I can draw it tight like that. And then I just hold it like that. And so I'm super happy with it. Love the Alice in Wonderland pattern. And it's so roomy. And it's going to last for years. The inside is just like a tough white kind of burlap. So inside here, I have my Dust of Snow shawl that I've started. And that is a design by Helen Stewart, who is definitely one of my favorite designers, especially if you're talking about like Advent or multiple color type things. But she's just so cool. She's Australian. She has a podcast, and I'll put that down below too. And I'm going to just write that so that I don't forget. And one thing that I haven't seen any other designer do that she does is all of her designs are line by line. And so, I mean, I guess you would either love that or hate that. I do have a friend that, like, it's very annoying to her. She'd rather just say, do this for 20 rows. But I find it to be very helpful. And so this shawl is going to be for my mother-in-law, Helen. And we had a lot of fun. She came over and we went on to Ravelry and we looked at a bunch of different patterns, and she picked this one. She fell in love with it and it's gorgeous. She has great taste. And then I was going to have her pick one of the Advents, and she threw me for a loop. I'm not gonna lie, because she picked an Advent and then she was like, but I don't like this color, this color, this color. I was like, wait, if you do an Advent project, you use the whole Advent. But I mean, I didn't say that to her, but that's what I was thinking, because that's just how, you know, it seems to be in the knitting world for the most part. But I decided I wanted something that she totally loved. And she was pretty clear that she didn't want those colors. And so then I just realized that I have a ton of minis from other places. So then we had fun. She picked almost all, I would say probably maybe 18 out of the 24 she loved. It was the Blush Advent. She's just not into yellows or oranges, so she took all of those out. And I can understand that. They're not my top colors either. And then we went through my other minis, and she picked the ones, enough ones that she loved to make 24. And then we designed the palette, and then I started the project. So I've been having a lot of fun. It's a really fun project so far. Like, this part was just garter, and then this has got a little bit of a wave, a little bit of a lace pattern going on. And I did decide to put in mohair too. So I've got a strand of fingering and then a strand of mohair held together. So that's what's giving it its fabulous fuzziness and squishiness. I did have a bit of a panic. Evidently one of the ones that we picked, I didn't weigh, and must have been a 10 gram instead of a 20 gram. Oops. So this color right here, and you can see how that she has it fade over several rows. And so this color that I'm currently using still has like 4 rows plus like 4 more rows that are fading. But guess what? This is how much yarn I have. So I was freaking out, deciding, like, am I gonna rip out? But that would be like half of what I've done. I really didn't want to do that. And besides mohair, like, ripping out things held double. One of the mohair is no fun. So, but I didn't want to do a harsh break because it would be different than the whole rest of the pattern. So I decided I have to have something that's close. And this is close. So I'm going to just when this runs out, I'm going to just substitute with this. I think because it's held with the mohair, it's not going to be noticeable, or it will only be slightly noticeable. But that is my fix to that. And that is the shawl that I'm working on with the blush advent. I've also been working on my Legacy Fiber Arts advent. The membership that I belong to, Love and Stitches, every month we've been having a make-along theme. And so this month's theme is color work, which worked very well with my Legacy Fiber Arts advent because it is a stocking. And so like a stocking that you hang like on your chimney, not a stocking that you wear. Nobody's wearing this puppy, and nobody's putting anything in this puppy either. This is going to be purely decorative. This is a lot of work. This is my first color work I've ever done, and I feel like it's a little intricate for maybe a first pattern. But having said that, I am enjoying it. So I'm only on my second color. I'm almost done with my second color, and there are 24 colors. So I have a long ways to go. Look at this cute little progress creeper. Progress keeper, not creeper. Having a hard time. I haven't had any caffeine yet today. This is by Nitty Vicky. I love her stuff. This is also a new Happy Mail acquisition. I can't stay away from her site. Even her last note said, "Thank you again, Gretchen." So that is that one. I'm working on it every day a little tiny bit, just a couple rows, because it seems to, for some reason, be tough on my hands. I just don't like working with those like 16-inch circulars or the 9-inch circulars for socks. It's just not my favorite. But that's what I've got working on it right now. So this is also another advent and another pattern by Helen Stewart. I didn't do that on purpose. Like I picked this pattern for myself, and then Helen picked out that pattern. So yeah, what are you gonna say? But so I've got 1, 2, 3. I'm almost done with my 4th color on this one, and it's a throw. It's supposed to be 40 inches by 40 inches when it's done. And I'm using the Pixie Yarn Advent, and I am holding it double. So even though the Advent yarn is fingering, because I'm holding it double, the throw will be like a DK weight. So it's nice. It's a nice weight. It's a nice feel. Really, really happy with it. This is like my nighttime knitting. Pretty mindless. You do one of these rows. It's supposed to be like every 4th, but I'm kind of just doing it ish. This one is very casual for me. And I'm happy with it. I think it looks very pretty. So those are my works in progress. I've been having fun. I've been knitting quite a bit. And let's see, I did get some Happy Mail. I'm only going to show one thing though, but it is stunning, and it is completely Crazy Sock Lady's fault. I watched her last video that was, I think it was, this must have been last week, and she showed this bag, and it was so stunning that I like immediately went on Etsy and bought one for myself. And I'm not gonna lie, this is an expensive baby, but this is real patchwork. This is not like a cloth that looks like patchwork. You can see the stitching. It's real patchwork. So, and then it's got a ring. Look at the handles are rulers. The inside, there's multiple pockets. And this pocket, let's see, I'm not showing that one right. Let's see if I can turn it around. That pocket, so you can thread through yarn if you want. Super deep, boxed. I mean, you can have an Afghan in this sucker, a long summer cardigan. So I absolutely love it. It's by the Scrappy Thread that's on Etsy. Her stuff is like one of a kind. It's drawstring and then 2 handles. And yeah, it's gorgeous. So expensive, but worth it. I'm sure it took her a lot of time to make, and I am going to cherish it. So I think that is it for the books. Do you like my calendar over there? I don't know why, but that little cupcake makes me so hyper every month. So this month it says, "You'll never escape my love." I don't know why. It gives me joy. So, and then here's Mo. If you've been around for a while, you know I got Mo at the Laguna Arts Festival. And there's a lady there that makes just very unusual creatures, and she names them and she loves them until she adopts them out. And so I fell in love with Mo. And probably next year I will probably get another creature because I just love them. I like to talk about books for a little bit. The first book that I read was part of the February book club with Love and Stitches. And you can probably hear my dog, Delilah Sue. She's barking. Sorry, I've got the door closed, but she's basset hound. What you gonna do? Anyway, the book is called A Flicker in the Dark. And it's, I guess you would call a murder mystery, which is not normally my genre, but it was very well written. It really did keep me guessing. I will say I thought I knew pretty early on, but there were enough twists and turns, and there was also like almost like a side thing happening that then I was very unsure. And so I always love that. Like, I'm pretty good at picking up on foreshadowing and guessing things. A lot of times I can do that with a movie, and then it's such a bummer because like, I know what's going to happen, you know, kind of thing. This definitely was not that for me. And even though the person I did think it was, eventually I was correct, I totally doubted myself several times. So it felt good. It felt like it was a good murder mystery, and again, very well written. I give it like 3.5 stars, B+. If that was one of your like preferred genre, you'd probably even give it a higher marking. That's just not one of my things. And then the 2 books that I'm currently reading literally could not be farther apart. So the first one that I'm reading is a Stephen King, and it's called Billy Summers. I'm really enjoying it, but it's really interesting because it's not like a normal Stephen King at all. I keep waiting for something weird or horrifying or scary to happen. No. It's about a guy. I mean, the guy has an interesting job. He's an assassin. But really, it's just about him, his personality. He's writing a book. He's an interesting guy, but so it's a great book. I'm really enjoying it. I just, if you said, is this book by Stephen King? I would say no, it's definitely not. Like, I've read a lot of Stephen King, and this is just like a good author writing a good book about an interesting man. So I am, let's see, how far am I? I'm pretty far. Like I only have this much left. So I don't know, like, what could happen in that amount of time that would make it Stephen King-y, but I don't know. I am very interested. And I'm probably at about the point where I'm going to have to just sit down and read the whole thing. Stephen King does tend to be that way for me. He's just a quick, fun, fast read for me usually. And then the other book that I'm reading is Les Miserables. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Les Mis. Okay. So my daughter and I instigated it, I have to say. I found a poster that's like 50 books that you should read before you die or whatever. And so she said she would do it with me. And so I bought 2. I have it hanging on the wall. I was going to try to sit that way. I kind of have like 3 different ways that I can sit now, but I didn't have time to readjust. So you get Cupcake and Happy Bright Stuff and Mo today. Maybe next week you'll get the books and the poster. But anyway, we've both read 100 Years of Solitude, both hated it. Both read To Kill a Mockingbird, which we'd both already read, loved it, 5.5 stars. As many stars as you can give, and then a plus. And then for whatever reason, we branched off. And so she is reading, I think, Great Expectations, and I am reading Les Mis. And I'm reading Les Mis, quite honestly, quite rudely, because I just wanted to get it over with. Like, it was hanging over my head, because it is 1,800 pages. And I'm reading it on my Kindle. And I've been reading it, I would say, pretty close to an hour a day and sometimes more than that, because I wake up like way too early sometimes, like 4:30, and so I'll read for a couple hours. So I've been reading it for maybe a week to a week and a half, and I'm like 14% done. And my Kindle says I have 27 hours left. So that's daunting. But having said that, I've tried it 2 times before, and I don't think I've ever gotten as far as I've already gotten. And I'm pretty into it. I mean, not into it like Stephen King into it. Like, I can't, like, it's just a huge page turner. It's not that. But it's really good. I mean, there is a reason why it's a timeless classic, and I am appreciating it. I'm also, the vocabulary that a lot of these classic books use is so far and above beyond what we use in our current vernacular that I'm having to look up quite a few words, and I'm highlighting those. And I love that. I love learning new words. And yeah, I am. I'm enjoying it, but it is still daunting. I'm not going to lie. On to food. Let's see. I have been subscribing to HelloFresh, and I would say I very much enjoyed it, and I'm about ready to end it. The pros, I think the recipes are great. The ingredients are great. The cons, the ingredients aren't prepped, and a lot of the recipes are pretty involved. Oh, and they're pretty expensive. Duh. So last night I made beef tenderloin with chive butter sauce, truffle mashed potatoes, asparagus. And then actually that was the main course. And the first course were crostini with ricotta, hot honey, and walnuts. And I'm going to say I was pretty bummed, because that's a pretty fancy dinner. And it was pretty yummy. And it took me a decent amount of time. And Hubs came home, and he's on Weight Watchers, and he accidentally... he said he ordered a half sandwich, and they gave him a whole meatball sandwich from Subway, I think. And so he ate the whole thing. So basically he had no points. So he ate the steak, none of the potatoes, and then like pity ate the one crostini, which there were 8 of them, because I had worked so hard. So, I mean, that's all just, like unfortunate, but it did bum me out. So I think I'm done with HelloFresh. The other thing is, like, I think that the pro of HelloFresh is if you don't like picking out recipes and going grocery shopping. And actually, I don't mind doing either of those things. So even though I started it when I was sick and I just didn't have the mental or physical capacity to be doing much of anything, and it was very helpful for that. But I am feeling good now, and I have a gajillion cookbooks, and I love cooking out of them, so I'm going back to that. Super Bowl, go Rams. I'm so excited that they won. We had a good time. We didn't have a big crowd, but we had a crowd of my loves. So my son and his fiance were here, and then my daughter and her husband were here, And then my father-in-law and his wife were here. So it was a fun time. I made French dip sandwiches, and they were in the Instapot. They were really good. And I like grilled I put like garlic butter on the hoagies and grilled them a little bit, and then put cheese and melted that, and then you know, the meat with the jus. And then I also made homemade dipped. And so we had like a nacho bar, and we were supposed to have an ice cream bar, and we were all so full and we didn't. So now I have like 3 gallons or half gallons, I don't know, those size, of ice cream, plus like sprinkles and sugar and caramel and hot fudge. So we'll have to figure out a reason to have another party, because I need that ice cream stuff gone. Yes, but it was super fun. We're all Rams fans, or not fans of football and don't care, and just wanted to watch the halftime, which I thought was fantastic, and the commercials, and eat the food. But I have actually been a Rams fan since I was little, since they lived here. My dad, Jerry, was an avid Rams fan, and he had a pet store at the time in Huntington Beach, and some of the Rams players lived there, because hey, if you're a pro football player, why wouldn't you live in Huntington Beach? And we'd come in and get pet food. So there were 2 or 3 of them. And so that was like big excitement in our family that Dad knew some Rams football people. Anyway, now I'm going to talk a little bit about a cookbook. I'm almost done. Thank you so much if you're still with me. So I bought this yesterday. It's Jubilee. And it's interesting. I belong to about 4 cookbook clubs on Facebook groups. And what they do is every month they pick a cookbook, and then everybody cooks out of that cookbook. And it's really fun, because then you find out like the really great recipes, the recipes that took tons of time and aren't worth it, all of that. Saves you time, energy, and gives you inspiration. So one of the cookbook clubs last year did Jubilee. And I don't know, I was just like, no, I'm not interested. Then I went to New Orleans and I tasted some real Southern cooking. And I'm like, now I'm so hungry for it. Like, and somebody posted, they had like one of the other clubs that I subscribe to is doing Jubilee this month. And they started posting pictures, and I'm like, oh yes. And the one that sold me, I literally saw it yesterday morning on Facebook and went out yesterday afternoon to Barnes & Noble to get it, was the fried chicken. I'm going to just say it. Y'all, look at that. I mean, if you look at that chicken, you have to say y'all, don't you? I think so. Her picture looked that good. So I actually have an organic whole bird in my fridge, just waiting to be bathed in buttermilk and fried up. So I'm very excited. I will post some pictures, or I will take pictures and post them the next time I podcast. And I'm hoping to make that kind of a normal part of the podcast is, things that I cook. And last but not least, a couple of beauty products that I'm liking. This is really weird for me to even talk about because, hello, not super into beauty. Definitely, yeah, just not my thing. But I have found a couple things that I'm in love with. This NARS lip balm in Dolce Vita. I'm wearing it. It just goes on so smooth, and my lips have been really dry, so I had been trying to use lipstick, and between masks and dryness, it just felt like there was no sense. And masks get super gross if you're wearing lipstick. So I had just kind of almost given up. And then I got this a couple weeks ago, and like I had this dry part right here. It just wouldn't even go away. I was using lip balm and Burt's Bees and all kinds of things, and it wasn't going away. And I started using this, and it's much better. And I really love the color. It's really a natural color. It's called Dolce Vita, Sweet Life. So I'm loving that. And then the other thing that I never, ever, ever, ever would have tried, get it in the right place, is by L'Occitane. Sure, I'm saying that incorrectly as well. And it's shower oil, which to me sounds weird. I don't know. And I got this, I had a L'Occitane Advent. And so I had 24 little thingies to try. And I just decided to give this one a try. And it's almond scented. And it's lightly foaming. And man, does it feel wonderful. And this time of year, you know, I live in Southern California, super dry climate. Winter, I always get patches of dry skin, itchy skin, and this has been the bomb. So probably going to have to be going to Rancho Cucamonga to where there is a L'Occitane store and getting an actual full-size one of those. So those are my two things that I'm loving right now in the beauty world. And that is all I have for today. I was trying to make it under 30 and it looks like I did. Although I did have to restart, so maybe not. But if you are here, well, you are still here. You're watching. Thank you so much. If you did enjoy this, please like and subscribe. And if you have anything that you really liked and would like to hear more about, please put that in the comments or any questions you have, anything like that. And thanks again for watching. I'm going to be planning on podcasting again the first week of March. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.